I made like 2 and a bit grand in that day. And then I had to go into this crappy little part-time job and get bossed around by, supervisors and stuff like that. And I just thought, no, fuck this, I'm out.
How did this producer go from opening a door for the first time to having his tracks played by big artists in Ibiza and building his full-time coaching business, all within just 4 years? 2 words: determination and consistency.
So in effect, I was working 3 jobs, and there was periods where I was doing about 70 to 80 hours of a working week.
Brendan started his journey as a passionate raver. Being totally sucked into the house music scene, he quickly decided to start DJing and to learn music production. But when he was about to finish his university degree, he had to make a decision. Either to do what he studied and to work as a fitness coach, or to go all in with his passion. He chose to go all in with his dream. In this episode, Brendan shares how he went full-time with his coaching business, his marketing strategy to get new clients, and the tools and routines he uses to run his business. Then tell us, Brendan, who are you and what have you built so far?
It's always weird when people ask questions like that. But for those that don't know, I'm Brendan James. I'm an artist, somewhat of a DJ, I suppose, label owner, and I guess soon to be business owner of Serotonin Studios. And Serotonin just as a whole brand, there's going to be a lot of branch offs from there already is. We've already got Serotonin Records, Serotonin Sub Records, and Serotonin Studio ready to go. But Serotonin Studio is a education platform, it's a subscription service specifically for minimal deep tech or minimal tech house music. We just have a wide variety of video form content in there, plus a community aspect with Discord and live streams as well. So yeah, that's what it is. And I mean, the reason for starting it, I had kind of 2 main reasons. One was kind of like internal reasons. So when it came to the lessons, I was reaching kind of my limits with the lessons. It was having quite a negative impact on me. Not mentally, but creatively. I was really struggling to start then being creative for my own music, my own content as well, whether that's long form or short form content. I was just really struggling because I was almost always giving out my creativity to other people. I was getting up to 25 to 35 hours a week of tuition at some point. Obviously, it was great money, and I'm not complaining about that side of it, and I still really enjoyed it, but it was having a really knock-on effect on that creativity. And a lot of the time as well, I felt like I was sort of saying the same thing to some people. When you're doing tuition, it can almost be broken down into a few sort of different areas. You have kind of workflow, that's kind of one main area that people struggle with, creativity, and then there's that kind of next area, which is where specialized one tuition will help, which is like track feedbacks, more kind of personalized coaching, where to get that like next sort of 10 or 20% out of that artist, whether it's music marketing, social media, kind of pushing them to do more on social media, or if it's with their own music. But obviously most people are in that either workflow bundle or creativity bundle. So then that made me realize, I was like, okay, like I'm doing these kind of lessons all the time. And as well, the lessons, they're not cheap. They are cheap compared to some other people because I was very reasonable with my prices. So that kind of led on to Serotonin Studios, where it kind of covered all of those aspects plus more to give back more to me and give back to other people. And also I haven't revolutionized anything here. Like the membership kind of subscription model, especially for music education, has been around for quite a few years now. There's plenty of people that are doing it exceptionally well, but there was no one really encapsulating minimal deep tech and these kind of darker, glitchier beats. And I think that's why I capitalized on the tuition so much as well, because there was no one doing specialized tuition for that. And I think that's what led me to go full time with it, and the YouTube channel kind of picking up.
So now we know that Brandon's running an educational platform for aspiring minimal deep tech producer. But what got him into music, and how did he manage to go from knowing nothing about music production to having his own educational platform in only a few years?
Well, I first started DJing, that would have been late 2019 when I first started DJing. Basically the back off a busy year of raving, pretty much. I was pretty much a full-time raver for a year in 2019. And both me and my mate thought it'd be really cool to start DJing. He got his decks first. I was like, okay, that looks really fun. I'm going to do the same. So I did the same, and time progressed, obviously, and then I got into music production, which was May 2020. So when we were in the lockdowns. And the main reason why I started it was just because I wanted some way to kind of market myself as a local DJ. That was always the goal. It was never where it is nowadays. And I kind of just looked around and I was like, well, not many of these local DJs are making music themselves. So I was like, I wonder if I start doing that, it'd help me get more gigs. 3-4 years down the line, it still hasn't helped me get more gigs, but it's led me on to plenty more better opportunities than being a local DJ. And then, yeah, it just spiraled from there, really. It was just pretty relentless with learning, making music. I was fortunate enough to have the time, obviously, with all the lockdowns. And I guess you can almost fast forward to, would have been late to mid 2022. And then that's when things started to pick up for me a little bit. But yeah, that late 2022 was when I started getting a bit of DJ support. And I was like, okay, like clearly I've got some decent tunes here. Obviously I'd only been producing like 2 years at this point as well. So it's quite quick turnaround. Started sending my music out to labels. They all started picking it up as well, saying we're signing this. And because it was late 2022, it had all come out in 2023. And then things just started picking up even faster and faster, started getting releases, which was great. And that 2023, like I said, just getting release after release, I started getting a bit of viral support on an edit that I made, which was great. I had one track played out by Marco Carola and Pasha. My friend sent me the video at 6:30 a.m. And then someone sent me the video from Twitter, and this was about probably 8 a.m. and it had like 120k views. And Marco Carola consistently played that track for about nearly 6 months, I think. And at the same time, that's when I launched, I guess you could call it the first side of the business, more service-based business, but that was Brendan James Music, which was one-to-one tuition, music mastering, so like engineer, mix downs, mastering, and coaching as well. So it wasn't always just tuition. Sometimes there was like clients I've had super long term, so they've been there for more of a coaching basis rather than just a quick 1 hour call and feedback and, you know, work on a track together kind of thing.
How did you manage them to turn it into full time?
Yeah, so at the time when I was doing music, I was still doing a part-time job. I had to get another part-time job as well because my personal finances at the time was not good. So yeah, I still had to get another part-time job. So in effect, I was working 3 jobs. And there was periods where I was doing about 70 to 80 hours of a working week. So it was a pretty intense time, but I just kind of battled it out. Started the YouTube channel the same time I started getting my first release, which was March 2023. Had more releases, kept on doing the YouTube, kept that up for about 4 months. And then that's when I released the service side of the business, so Brendan James Music. Launched it as a website, which was super useful at the time. Now I just do it a bit more kind of back end for Instagram. It's a bit easier for me to work like that, especially with some of the forthcoming stuff that I've got coming out. But yeah, I just kept doing that. Lots of lessons, putting out more content, putting out more releases. I think I did a sample pack in that time. I think I did a template in that time. I also had that bit of viral success that I was talking about. So everything was kind of compounding and the momentum was really rolling. And it got to a point where I could leave one of my part-time jobs, and then my other part-time job, I was just sort of dropping off hours. And I think I got down to 3 days a week, maybe 2. I can't fully remember. And they weren't even full days either. A lot of the time I was working evenings, so I'd start about 4 o'clock and finish 9. So it got to a point I was just like hating the job. It was a retail job. Looking back on it, it was really easy, but I just wasn't enjoying it. And yeah, it was getting to the point during the day I'd be earning nearly double or triple the amount I'd be earning in these 4 or 5 hour shifts that I was doing in the evening. And I was coming a bit resentment of the job, and just I wasn't pulling my weight. And it got to the point I was like, right, I'm just going to bite the bullet now and make the jump. I had a Black Friday sale that year, so 2023 I had a Black Friday sale, and I made like 2 and a bit grand in that day. And then I had to go into this crappy little part-time job and get bossed around by, supervisors and stuff like that. And I just thought, oh, fuck this, I'm out. Yeah, it was a really quick turnaround from that first release in March. And then that was December 2023 when I left. Looking back on it, I would have probably held out a little bit longer if I could have. But, that's the beauty of hindsight.
Brandon has proved that you don't need a big following or decades of experience to start your coaching business as a music producer. The only thing you need is the passion and the courage to pursue it. But you also need to make sure to make the right decisions for your business. That's why I started Full-Time Music Maker, a consulting business for music producers that helps you to combine your skills with your unique story to build a financially sustainable business. If you're curious to make music production your full-time career, head to the link in the description and book a free call to see if we can help you. Let's go back to the video. Now we know Brandon's origin story, but what is the secret marketing strategy to continuously grow his business? I'm sure some of you will be very surprised by the answer, so let's listen to what he has to say.
Marketing wise, I was like, how can I advertise this? Well, Instagram's obviously a good one. YouTube is probably the better one. And if anything, it's probably easier as well, because you just sit down, speak to a camera, you can go in more depths. You don't really have to worry about super high quality editing or, engagement, hooks, all of these kind of things, which do make a difference. But when you just do a track breakdown, it's not the end of the world. But funnily enough, I would say word of mouth is actually overlooked, because if you have an online business, your word of mouth isn't just to your local hometown, it's across the whole world. So you may have that one call with that one person, he may then go and speak to his other 10 or 20 producer friends within his city. That then may give you, a 1 or 2% of them, and then they come to you from them. I've had that happen multiple times where I've done a call and I get a message from someone, hey, you've just done a call with XYZ, I'm looking to do some tuition as well. And like I said, that happens all across the world. So yeah, that I guess comes down to being good, or whatever you're doing, if you're selling a product, needs to be good, so then people go and talk about it as well.
So what grows his business continuously aren't some secret ad techniques or algorithm hacks, but providing such a great service to his customers that they tell all their friends. And in order to reach all these people around the globe that eventually refer him, he mainly uses YouTube. So what is it about his content that people want to learn from him?
It's something I've noticed recently with other artists maybe starting to do one-to-one tuition and offering other services. And I wish them all the best. And you never know, they may be exceeding, you just don't know, because unless they talk about it on social media, you just don't know. But from my opinion, they're not putting out anything for free. So it's like, why should then people go and pay them, all of these $50 plus for tuition when there's no content out there for free? You kind of got to give people to receive back in a weird sort of sense. And I think a lot of people neglect that steps that you just previously talked about, going straight to kind of the subscription model, because there's no denying it in it. There's a lot of money to be made in it if you do it correctly. But then people skip that, but they also skip the free stage as well. Just giving stuff out for free, whether it's content, whether it's samples, whether it's tracks, whether it's music. Do you know what I mean? There's so many things to give out for free, and I think a lot of people neglect that.
Absolutely. And I think that's what also many people in marketing say, your free stuff needs to be better than most people's paid stuff, basically. You already prepare someone so much with your free content, and then, I mean, especially with music production, it's such a complex topic, and at some point I think it's really hard to just do it for YouTube. And you can be very prepared, but you come to the point where you're now, okay, now I need the next step. And I think people go then to the person that already helped them to get there where they are right now, rather than to spend a lot of money to maybe someone that they haven't had this relationship to. So that's statistics actually that the chance when someone consumes 7 hours of someone's content, the chances that this person buys are like basically 100%.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's also the power of YouTube, because some people have when you have a 30 to 1 hour video, you only need between 7 and 14 videos, and this person is basically ready. But it would be, I think it was like 700 or like 1,000 shorts or something.
Yeah, when you put it into that perspective, it's complete. And I think a lot of people forget as well is people aren't always buying the service, they're actually buying you, is a lot of thing that people forget. So if people can see how you interact on a camera and they kind of understand your personality, then they're more than likely then going to invest with you.
What sets him apart, and what most successful creators do, is to focus on putting out free, valuable, long-form content on YouTube. Short-form platforms like Instagram are great for quick tips, but they only let you solve one small problem at a time. On YouTube, you can go deeper and tackle a whole stack of problems in one video. Plus, on platforms like Instagram, you're fighting for attention in a busy feed. On YouTube, people show up with a purpose. They're actively looking for solutions. If you look at it from the outside perspective, Brandon's story seems like a dream come true. Milestone after milestone and a growing business. Almost too good to be true. Let's have a look what it actually means to go all in with your dream. What are the biggest challenges that you have to overcome as an educator and a business owner on your journey so far?
Probably sacrificing like a personal life. Other than work, I don't do too much. Thankfully, most of the time, I mean, I'm only human, right? Like sometimes work feels like work, but most of the time my work feels, playful. And I look at my bank and I'm like, oh, I've got 250 quid come in this week. Brilliant. It doesn't feel like I've done anything, which is amazing. Obviously, like I said, there are some days where I'm like, leave me alone. I just want to like curl up in bed. But yeah, I would say that's definitely the hardest thing is probably the personal life sacrifice. And there's been multiple times where I haven't gone on holidays, probably because I've created this really unhealthy work relationship where I can't let go of not working for a week. I can remember a really good one this was really early on as well, when I think I just built this sort of studio. I can't fully remember. But my mates were going Creamfields, which is like one of the bigger UK festivals. And I was kind of given this choice, really, only a personal choice by myself. It was either go Creamfields with my friends, and at about this time I was still 20. I'm 26 now. Am I 26 or am I 27? I think I'm 26. God, that's really bad. But at the time I was about 20, and it was either go Creamfields with my friends or buy new speakers. And because speakers are expensive, they're like 4 or 5 quid. Obviously, Creamfields is probably about the same. And I chose the speakers over Creamfields. And I've done stuff like that continuously over the past years. And I really think that's kind of what separates I don't want to say the good from the bad, but maybe the good from the professionals is stuff like that, where they, just say no to certain things, which is normalized by modern society, and just go all in on sort of one thing. I think the best thing, and something I've been trying to implement recently, is almost go through it as like seasons. So you're going to go, okay, for the next 6 months plus, I'm going to, just work as much as I can. Then I'll allow myself a 2-3 month period of cool down, and then, push again. I think that works much better than, working really hard Monday to Friday and then taking the weekends off. I think you can do that once you hit kind of the point that you're happy with, and then you can almost let off and have a bit more of a quote unquote normal life. But until then, you've pretty much got to be all in as much as possible.
So as we learned, it takes a lot of dedication and hard work to build your creative legacy. So now we're going to find out what tools he's using to run his music production business, what apps help him to stay focused, and what routines keep him healthy and motivated.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many out there. I've tried a few, but I try and keep it as basic as possible. And I kind of dot between like digital and then analog. So I just like the difference. So at the moment, sounds stupid, pen and paper, notebook. It is probably the best one that I'm enjoying at the moment. But I'm a big fan of an iPad as well. I think a lot of people overlook them, and part of its image, I can walk around with an iPad and look cool, like I'm important. But I like having a specific device for kind of like admin work, planning, all of this kind of stuff. Like that's what I primarily use as like my digital notebook. Also as well, for those that go further down the rabbit hole of either owning their own businesses or even just artists as well, as you start to grow more as an artist, this becomes your biggest enemy. Distracting, Instagram, TikTok, everything, people messaging you, it really becomes your biggest enemy. So most of the time, this isn't really with me. It's only because I just touched on this parcel's arriving soon. Most of my time, my iPad's with me. So I don't even have Instagram, TikTok, anything like that on that device. So it's this really nice device that I can use without getting distracted and still access everything I need to. And the same goes for when I'm relaxing. When I try and watch something on this, I soon go on Instagram, I still go on TikTok, then I get reminded I've got XYZ to message and, something to film and this master to do. If I just want to chill out for an hour or two, I can grab my iPad, and that device is specifically for that and, admin work. So it's kind of a luxury thing. Like, I wouldn't say everyone needs it, but if you are further going down that rabbit hole, if people struggle with the phone being a distraction, that's something I would highly recommend. Pick up a second-hand iPad for like 200 quid. It's like pretty good going.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's also, I on my phone, I turned off all notifications. Sometimes a bit annoying when I actually need them.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it really helps me to not, because that's how they're created, right? You see these notifications and it's almost painful not to go after them. So
yeah, in fact, it's currently on now, so it's kind of a nice segue into like apps and stuff. So I use an app called Opal, which is this one here. This is like a screen blocking app. So if I scroll across, a lot of those icons are kind of blacked out, so I can't go on TikTok. It won't let me. Only certain hours of the day it will let me go on it, and it's kind of permanently blocked, because it was something I was really struggling with 2-3 months ago, like just picking up the phone. It was getting a really bad habit. Thankfully, I've started to break that now with new systems and habits I've been putting in place for the past month or two. But yeah, that's a really good app if people are struggling with that. So that's one of them, the apps that I use, Opal. Zoom is what I use for all the tuition. Zoom's great, in my opinion. It's super easy to use. Most people have it. Yes, the audio quality does dip very, very slightly. So if you're wanting to do super in-depth audio engineering with the highest quality, it's probably not the best thing to do online, person to person. It goes back to this friction thing though, right? I've seen other people when they're doing their tutoring and they're getting people to download this software and then this software, and then you've got to connect it to this so then we can hear high quality lossless audio across the world. Yeah, obviously it does make a difference, I'm not doubting that, but it's friction, right? Do I really need to do that to tell someone that they need to change the kick drum and change a few notes in the bass line? No, I don't need super high quality audio for that. So for its ease of use, I always use Zoom. I think it's fairly new, Zoom Scheduler. That's what I've swapped over to recently. So I was using Square before, when I had the website with Square appointments and the booking system. But Zoom has their own booking system now. Super easy to do, really easy to set up as well, and fairly cheap as well. It's £15 a month. So that's what I use when people want to book in now. I just send them the link and they just pick what time they want. sends them automatic Zoom links as well. So that's another thing that I kind of had to remove, but that I had to do before when I was using Square. I'd book someone in and I have to make sure that they've got their Zoom link, and then some people would forget. It's a really nice streamlined way of working if you're doing lots of meetings and stuff like that. So that's what I use for scheduler. Monzo for banking. That's what I primarily use. I just like it. It's a nice streamlined way of working. I can do all my payment links from there as well, because Monzo directly links to Stripe as well. So I connect everything up inside the app. It's a really nice streamlined way of working compared to what I was doing before. Productivity app, I use an app called TickTick. There's still a learning curve to it, but I really think it's one of the better ones out there. It will link to all your calendars. It has the calendar feature in it. It has a really good to-do list sort of system in it that you can create yourself. Habits as well. That's why I like it. It's got that built into it, so I can set up my daily habits. In fact, seeing as this is video, I'll pull it up. I also, because this is just how I like it, on my phone I have it as my action button, so I can pull this up instantly to add a note. If something crosses my mind that I need to do, I can just bing, add it in, super quick and easy. So yeah, you can kind of see it will show me my to-do list. I can just tick it all off. The habits are below it, so I've already ticked some off because I've already done them. It's got a built-in calendar. Like I said, I can group things as well, so I have a whole inbox of Serotonin Studio, a whole inbox of Serotonin Records, so on and so forth. It's on face value, it's nice and easy to use, but there's so many layers to it. When you start sort of pulling those layers back, it's, in my opinion, one of the better productivity apps out there.
Let's have a listen what his vision for the future is and what to expect from Serotonin and from Brandon as an artist. So first of all, what's the next big goal and vision for Serotonin and for you as an artist as well?
I think it's just growing it as much as possible, and we would like to launch one of the side projects as well, which will be Serotonin Store. So that will be a place you can buy sample packs, templates and stuff like that. So I've already developed a few sample packs and a few templates, but I'd like to develop that further, make a few more, maybe bring on a few of my artist friends as well, get them to make some sample packs, because that's another big mission for Serotonin, or maybe for me personally as well, is obviously we've got all the music education community and all of that kind of stuff. But for me personally, I really want to be able to help other artists that are further along in their career, like monetize it and, potentially go full time with it. So whether that's I bring on, coaches, for example, in Serotonin Studio. So at some point in the near future, Serotonin Studio will have its own booking system external from my tuition, and you'll be able to book me and hopefully other coaches. I haven't fully decided how I'm going to work this yet, whether there be exclusive, or if it will be kind of like a barbershop kind of thing where maybe they pay me rent to then have access to so many members. I don't know, haven't figured that out yet, but even just that opportunity to then help other artists monetize. Same with sample packs, bringing on artists to make a few sample packs. Obviously it probably will work on some kind of commission fee, so they probably just get constant commission off that, which then could help them take their career full time. And we've already even started it with the content side of stuff. So I've actually got a few of my clients in there that have had decent successes, so it gets them used to creating content and speaking to the camera and stuff like that. In fact, I was editing one of them recently, and he was going through the same problems I was going through, where he's just couldn't get his words out and all of these kind of things. And it's a good practice, because if he wants to make a career out of it, he's going to have to get used to speaking to a camera and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be music education, but you still need to get used to conveying information to a camera to develop an audience. So yeah, I guess that's kind of a big vision for the business side of stuff, as well as obviously growing it for the other up and coming artists. For me personally as an artist, I want to try and make an album personally. Bit of a feat. I don't know if I'll do it. I will try my best to, but especially over the past 3 months, when I've been going through a bit of a creative rut, I've been making a lot of different genres and I've been really enjoying it. I don't have to make an album and then find someone to release it. I can just release it myself. Obviously have Serotonin Records and a Label Works account, which is what I use for all my distribution. So I could just create a brand new record label off of that. I could, call it Brendan James Records for all I wanted to, and just put different genre stuff out on there. So yeah, that's kind of the vision artistically that I'd like to go for.
Hey guys, I really thank you for watching. I hope Brandon's story inspires and motivates you to get started on your own music business. As you've seen, you don't need decades of experience to build a coaching business. The only thing you need is to get started, learn along the way, and to enjoy teaching other people what you know.